What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of college basketball action here on Sunday, February 23rd. We're going to break down a ton of NCAA games today. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Yesterday, guys, was not our best Saturday ever. The beginning of the day was brutal. We had Wisconsin minus 8.5. They were up by 12 at halftime. They end up losing that game straight up in overtime. So a terrible second half collapse there by the Badgers. We had Minnesota minus 2.5. They shot 30% from the field and 21% from three. So not a game they were going to come out on top of ever, despite the fact they were playing at home. You really don't expect the home team to struggle that bad shooting the ball, but that's what we got. We also had Pittsburgh minus 2.5. They played terrible, eventually losing the game by 4 against a Notre Dame team that is not very good. We did find some healing there in the back half of the day, though, guys. Florida minus 10.5. They pulled away comfortably there in the second half. They got a blowout win and cover for us, so a nice cash there. We also had Boise State plus 1.5. They dominated the boards in that matchup. They eventually ended up winning 70-69. So we'll take that. A 2 and 3 day, obviously not what we're looking for on a big Saturday, but hey, it's not the end of the world going one game below 500. If you want to win all of your bets today in what figures to be a huge bounce back spot, let's hit that like button. It's good luck. It shows support for the channel. And if we get to 1,000 likes on this video, we're going to give away another free hoodie. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. Once we get up to 50,000 subscribers, we're closing in, guys. We're over 48,000 now. We're going to give away another free hoodie. You can also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive access to all of my videos, get their names up on screen just like right now, and they also get entered in our promotional giveaways to channel members. We just gave away a hoodie to a channel member just a couple of days ago. So looking forward to doing many more, at least one giveaway like that each month. It went very, very smoothly. Got the hoodie out to him. He should have it here in less than a week. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NBA, college basketball, UFC, NHL, and we've got Major League Baseball right around the corner. Click the link in the description to head over to StumpTheSpread.com and check us out. If you're not sure if a premium pick package is right for you right now, just try us out by signing up for our free email list. That'll get you updates on our results and free picks straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking today, and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We're committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day, guys. We've got a pretty big one. We've got UConn going on the road to take on St. John's. The Huskies come into this game, guys. I mean, they're having a decent year, 18-8 on the season, so not exactly what they dreamed of, but they're doing some good things. They bounced back from a terrible loss there at Seton Hall, a 1-point, heartbreaker of a loss, but still not a game that should have been anywhere close, with a nice win their last time out, a 66-59 win there at home against Villanova. Now things get a little bit tough, guys. They played St. John's a couple weeks ago at the most. They took a 68-62 loss against the then number 12 St. John's, and that was a home game for the Huskies. Now they got to go on the road against St. John's, so that is definitely a tougher task. I mean, UConn, a tough team for sure. I mean, Solo Ball putting up good numbers. This team's decent offensively, very solid on defense. The rebounding numbers are a bit concerning, and the last time they went up against St. John's, guys, I mean, the rebounding did not really look the way you would have expected, to be honest. I mean, UConn ended up with a 10 rebounding edge, but still managed to lose that game straight up, despite St. John's having a terrible, terrible shooting day. So we'll see what they can do to turn it around in this one. They only had, one starter score in double digits. That was Solo Ball. McNeely did play well off the bench in that one, but none of it was enough. He also really struggled shooting the ball. He was only 4 of 15 from the field. He made 8 of his 18 points from the free throw line. So we'll see if UConn can kind of bring it back in this one, guys. St. John's 23-4 on the season. They're playing great. They did have that 2-point loss at Villanova, but they took down Creighton, a nice 79-73 win, and then they dismantled DePaul. They went into DePaul and got the 82-58 win their last time out. So definitely taking care of business there, ignoring the look-ahead spot with UConn here on the horizon. This team has been insane, guys. RJ Lewis Jr., a monster, 17.5 points per game. Nothing wrong with that. We also like what Richmond's doing, guys. Shooting 50% from the field, scoring around 12, 13 points, and dishing out 5 or 6 assists per competition. That is very, very good stuff. This is the number 8 rebounding team in the nation. Their defense is very good, giving up 65 points per game. Their offense is solid. They move the ball really well on offense. There's a lot to like right now about this St. John's team. And when they went up against, when they went up against UConn their last time, it was a terrible shooting day there for St. John's. They shot 4 of 21 from 3, only 40% from the field. They didn't have, they had a free throw deficit. They got out rebounded, and their defense was so good they still managed to win the game by 6 points. So loving what we're seeing from St. John's right now for sure, guys. They come into this game 4.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 138.5. UConn, they are 5-4 against the spread on the road, 13, 12, and 1 to the over. St. John's actually 9-7 against the spread at home, 15 and 12 to the under. Guys, I'm taking St. John's at home in this one. I think they win here comfortably. I think they're the far better team. They're going to shoot the ball better than 4 of 21 from 3. I very much believe that. And if they shoot the ball a little bit better, keep up that intensity on defense, they could possibly do a little bit better on the boards as well. And all that's going to add up to them having a comfortable win. I honestly think you could take them at anything under 10 because I think St. John's is going to cruise in this game. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at North Texas going on the road to take on USF out there in the American. The North Texas Mean Green, they're 19-6 on the season. They're second in the conference, only 1 game back of Memphis. They're also tied with UAB, I will mention, for the second spot, but they are playing really, really well. They've won their last 3 in a row, taking down Tulane, Rice, and Tulsa. They did lose a 3-point heartbreaker against UAB before that, but they've done some really solid stuff this season. I mean, going up against USF shouldn't be, the toughest test necessarily. I mean, South Florida, they're 6-8 in conference play, so we'll see if they've got anything good in store here. But right now, guys, we're concentrating on what we're getting from North Texas, and what you get from them on a night-to-night basis is elite defense. They're giving up 58.8 points per game. That is an astonishing number, guys. They're really, really good defensively. They don't play with a ton of pace, obviously, but that doesn't seem to matter. They're able to, slow down teams that want to play with more pace, like UAB, for example, playing a game that ended in the low 60s there against UAB. It was a loss, but they were able to inflict their pace of play on the game, and that's really what they want to do. I mean, this isn't a team that's going to score a ton of points, but they don't usually need to because their defense is just so good. So loving what we're seeing from them coming off of a 63-44 win against Tulsa here. Now they got to go on the road, obviously a little bit tougher, but they're in South Florida, so that probably doesn't feel terrible this time of the year. The Bulls 13-14 on the season, not having the time of their lives. They're fresh off a win though over UTSA, a 78-73 win, so they'll definitely take that. But when you're beating a team that's 10-16 on the season and 4-10 in conference play, it loses a little bit of its shine. This team does put up some offense. I mean, they're 130th in the nation, 76.1 points per game. Nothing to write home about. So we'll see what they do here against North Texas, a team that's going to, do their absolute best to limit you there offensively. They, not a great rebounding team, not necessarily a great assist number team. In their 78-73 win there, obviously against a much weaker opponent. They were on the road there, so give them some credit. They shot 30 free throws in the game. I don't think they're going to shoot 30 free throws here, even playing at home against North Texas. We'll see what happens. The refs can sometimes take the ball out of the players' hands, but we'll see what goes on there. I'm not expecting a crazy free throw shooting day in this one at all. Guys, looking at the numbers here, USF, they are getting 4.5 points at home. We've got a total of 130.5. North Texas 4-3-2 against the spread on the road, 11-11 and 1 to the over/under. USF, they are 4-8 against the spread at home, 16-10 to the under. Guys, I'm taking North Texas on the road in this one. I know being on the road here isn't necessarily their forte. They are over 500 against the spread on the road, though I will mention that. And they're a very good defensive team. I think South Florida's in for something of a letdown here after a couple good games in a row. North Texas has their eye on the prize. They are very, very much looking to, make their way into, they would probably hope, at least one of the top 2, if not the top spot there in the American once, conference tournament time rolls around. So definitely give me North Texas on the road in this one. Next on the docket, we've got a Big Ten showdown. We've got number 13 Purdue going on the road to take on Indiana. The Boilermakers having a little bit of a rough time recently. They are 19-8 on the season, so not terrible, but they've now lost 3 in a row. A devastating 2-point loss there at Michigan. They lost by 10 against Wisconsin, and then they kind of got, I'm not going to say fully manhandled, but they went on the road to Michigan State and eventually lost that game 75-66. So not a great look. They stay on the road here going up against Iowa, a team that they beat 81-76 earlier this season. That was a home game for Purdue. Do they have what it takes to kind of, circle the wagons and get back, to their winning ways, like what we've seen from them most of the season? I mean, we'll see. Their game against Michigan State, we saw Kaufman-Wren look great, 24 points there. Braden Smith also played really, really well, 17 points from him. But, guys, they didn't get to the free throw line a ton. Maybe they got a little bit homered in that game. It's not impossible. They shot over 50% from the field, but it just feels like this team is a little bit of a two-man show. Like, not a lot of help out there for Kaufman-Wren and Braden Smith. So we'll see what they can do, see if they can get back on track. Obviously, their season-long numbers look very, very good. They're a solid offensive team. They play some defense. The rebounding, though, continues to be a bit of a problem here. And are they going to struggle on the boards against Indiana? Well, we'll see, guys. The Hoosiers are only 15-11 on the season. They're currently 6-9 in conference play. They're fresh off of a brutal 4-point loss against UCLA, a win that could have definitely helped them out a lot. But yeah, not able to make that dream a reality. They did beat Michigan State, a nice resume building win. They've got a win over Ohio State as well. But guys, they've got work to do if they're going to be making the NCAA tournament. And they got to be a desperate team right now. This is a big chance for them. They're a decent rebounding team. That could be a big advantage for them for sure. They're around top 100 in the nation rebounding. Their offensive numbers aren't terrible. Their defense is a little bit concerning. The last time they played Purdue, like I said, they took a 5-point loss at Purdue, so they kept things very competitive. They played well in that game, shot 57% almost from the field. They did a good job on the boards, having a significant rebounding edge there. They shot almost 40% from three, which is definitely respectable. We saw Purdue really struggle shooting the ball despite being at home in that one. Now they're going to be shooting the ball on the road, so we'll see what they can do. It still kind of feels like the Kaufman-Wren and Braden Smith show. So looking at the numbers, Indiana getting only 3.5 points at home. We've got a total of 150.5. Purdue 6-3 against the spread on the road, 16-11 to the over. Indiana 9-6 against the spread at home. They are 14-12 to the under. Guys, I'm taking Indiana getting 3.5 points at home in this one. I'm not sure if it's going to end up in the pinned comment. It's definitely got a chance, but this is a team in absolute desperation mode. They want a chance to make the NCAA tournament, and they are running out of opportunities. I mean, if you look at their schedule the rest of the way here, guys, I mean, they really don't have any more chances for big statement wins. Maybe winning at Oregon or against Ohio State, again, could help, but nowhere near as much as a win over Purdue would help here. So give me Indiana in this one. They're getting a free possession or two. That's definitely helpful, and they've been a good team against the spread, so I think they've got a good chance here. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StumpTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list, get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now guys, back to the games. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Florida Atlantic Owls going on the road to take on number 22 Memphis. Florida Atlantic 15-11 on the season, so not exactly having an amazing year. They're 8-5 in conference play, so that's not terrible, but it is kind of just middle of the pack, or like top of the middle of the pack, I guess. They're fresh off a tough loss against Wichita State. They lost by 7 points at home against the Shockers. That is not a good look, guys. That definitely does not fall into the good look category, if you ask me. They're going up against a Memphis team that absolutely manhandled them about halfway through the season. Memphis got the 90-62 win in that one. So, yeah, FAU, a lot of work to do here. They don't have a monster leading score. They are 41st in the nation in points per game, though, so that's something to, hang your hat on a little bit. The rebounding numbers are fine, not elite. The defense, though, leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, giving up over 76 points per game, you better be scoring the ball because you are going to need that to stay in games. We'll see what they can do here. I'm not exactly thrilled with this spot for them, especially being on the road, but they've been playing slightly better, I guess, although coming off a loss against Wichita State, this has not been a great season for Wichita State by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll see what they can do against a number 22 Memphis Tigers team that comes into this game 21-5 on the year. They are also fresh off a tough loss against Wichita State, guys. They lost that game 84-79, so not a great look for them either. They're probably going to be falling out of the top 25. We'll see what happens in this game, but there may not be anything they can do here. They may be out of the top 25 no matter what happens. This team, obviously a tough loss against Wichita State. We didn't necessarily, we weren't enthused too much. I mean, it was an overtime game. They went into halftime losing, so maybe you can't come out quite so flat. They shot 38% from three. That's not bad. They did a good job kind of on the boards, but they did get out-rebounded by 9. We just saw them be unable to defend Wichita State. They just couldn't defend. Even despite Wichita State shooting 19% from the three-point line, they still end up, winning that game. So we'll see if Memphis has a bounce back in them. It would definitely be a pretty big bounce back, no doubt about that. They're going to need a big game out of PJ Haggerty, and that's usually what he does. Memphis comes in this game 8.5-point favorites at home, which does make some sense, obviously. I mean, the last time these two teams faced each other, we saw very good stuff from Memphis. They shot 55, almost 56% from the three-point line. They just dominated FAU, and that could possibly happen again, guys. I mean, FAU is only 4-6 against the spread on the road. They're 14-11 to the over. Memphis 4-8 against spread at home, 14-12 to the over. Guys, I think over 158.5 is pretty live in this game. I don't think it's going to be going in the pinned comment or anything like that, but I do think it's a reasonable spot. I really think you just got to shade towards Memphis minus 8.5 here. I think they just come out and put up a ton of points, more than Florida Atlantic can keep up with. And while Memphis doesn't play much defense, neither does FAU. So I think I like the Tigers here. Next up, guys, staying in the American, we've got Tulane going on the road to take on Wichita State. The Green Wave come into this game 15-11 on the year. They've won 2 in a row, taking down ECU their last time out, so that's a nice win. I mean, ECU, maybe not the toughest team, but they're no slouches. They're middle of the pack there in the American, and Tulane find themselves 9-4 in conference play and right up there with the top 4 in the conference. I mean, we like what we see, generally speaking. I mean, this team plays some defense. Their offensive numbers are respectable. The rebounding is a little bit sketchy, but that may not be the biggest deal here. Oh, well, I don't know. Against Wichita State, we'll see. That could come back to bite them, guys. Their last game, their game against ECU, they did some good stuff. Obviously, putting up 86 points is not easy. They shot the ball really, really well. They ended up with a small edge there on the boards, and they shot a lot more free throws playing this game at home. So could be a little bit more of a struggle here as they go on the road to take on a Wichita State team that comes into this game red hot. They're only 6-7 in conference play. They're 16-10 on the year, but they've won their last 5 in a row, including wins against FAU and Memphis. They avoided that big letdown spot after that huge win against Memphis, but getting that win against FAU. Now they get to go back home and play against Tulane, and they've got some interesting games coming up. I mean, UAB and North Texas coming up, so they've got a chance to continue to make noise here. The defense has looked way better. They've given up 70, 64, 79, and 68 points over this winning streak. That's looked very, very good. Their rebounding numbers have been excellent all season long and could be a huge bonus for them in this game for sure. This team doesn't really have a monster leading scorer. I mean, Xavier Bell, he's good, 14, 15 points per game. You can kind of pencil him in for that, but only shooting around 43% from the field. I'm not going to freak out about that too much. So, looking at the numbers for this game, guys. Wichita State, 4.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 144.5. Tulane, 4-3-1 against the spread on the road. They're 13-10-1 to the under. Wichita State, 4-7-2 against the spread at home. So not very good against the spread at home, but playing much better lately. They're 16-9 to the under themselves. Under 144.5 seems extremely reasonable to me. If you want to take the under in this game, I have no problem with that. But guys, I'm riding the hot hand here. I'm not too enthused about what I'm seeing from Tulane at the moment, and I think Wichita State will come out. They will dominate this game defensively and continue to just play really, really well. They've taken down better teams than this during this winning streak, and I think that continues. Give me Wichita State here at -4.5. Staying in the American, guys, we're looking at the Temple Owls. They're going on the road in this one to take on UAB. Temple only 14-13 on the season. They're actually riding a 5-game losing streak coming into this one. They just lost at Charlotte 78-72, so that's definitely not a good loss, losing against the worst team in the conference. So Temple definitely in something of a bounce back spot. This is a very good team offensively. I mean, 46th in the nation, averaging over 80 points per game. Jamal Mashburn putting up 22 per game, shooting 43% from the field. Very little to nitpick about that. They've been playing some close games. Like, they could have won against FAU. They could have won against Tulsa. They even kept it within 8 there against Memphis. So not a team that usually gets blown out, I will say, but they are going on the road here, which definitely makes things a little bit tougher. But this squad, guys, I mean, I don't hate them. I don't hate them. This team can put up some numbers, and that is very, very helpful. If you can score the rock, you're going to have a chance against anyone. And the anyone that they're facing this time is the UAB Blazers. They're 10-3 in conference play, so only 1 game back from Memphis for the top spot there in the American. The Blazers, I mean, 17-9 on the year. They're fresh off of a 1-point win against Rice. What a crazy, crazy game there. We saw, Johnson put up a career-high 24 points to get that win. And, Lindenborg's 2 free throws with 5 seconds left gave them the winning points in this game. So crazy, crazy stuff. Obviously, we love what we're seeing from Yaxel, guys. The dude's putting up crazy numbers, almost 18 points, 56% from the field. This is the 13th highest scoring team in the nation. They're very, very good on the boards too. A lot of that's a function of their pace of play, but still, got to give them credit there. This is an interesting game. This is a good one to watch if you like offense, guys. UAB is actually 9.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 162.5. Temple 5-5 against spread on the road. They are 21-5 to the over this season. That's an NCAA best to the over mark. UAB 7-7 against the spread at home. They are 14-10-1 to the over themselves. So right off the bat, over 162.5. Seems very good. I think we'll see tons of offense in this game. I don't doubt there's a good chance we see both teams score in the mid to upper 80s at least, and that gets us easily over this number. So definitely give me a look here at the over, but I also think Temple getting 9.5 points here is very solid value. UAB doesn't play much defense, guys. I mean, they just played a 1-point game against Rice, a team that is definitely not as good here as, not as good as Temple, I wouldn't say. Rice not having a very good year. Temple can do some stuff, guys. They can definitely score the ball. Give me Temple and the points in this one. Next up, guys, headed to the Big East, we're looking at the Xavier Musketeers going on the road to take on the Seton Hall Pirates. Xavier 9-7 in conference play, 17-10 on the season. They've actually won 3 in a row, but when your wins are against Providence, DePaul, and Butler, you didn't exactly set the world on fire. Those are literally the three of the 4 worst teams in the conference. So they've got things to prove still. They haven't really gotten many big marquee wins lately, but earlier in the season they were on quite the tear, taking down Marquette, threatening St. John's, and then taking down UConn. So they've got some good wins there on the resume, no doubt about it. They played Seton Hall much earlier in the year. They came with a big 94-72 win. So we'll see if they can repeat something like that. But it's been so long ago, we can't really take too much from that game. Like, these teams change and evolve a lot over the course of the season. We're loving what we're seeing from Zach Fremantle, 17 points per game, 50% from the field. Very nice, very efficient stuff. You'll love to see it. Against Butler, yeah, that's 76-63 win, a very comfortable 13-point win. They were up big at halftime and cruised to that win, so you'll love to see it. They shot 32% from 3. We saw Fremantle put up 14 points. It was very balanced scoring. 4 out of 5 starters scored in double figures. Yeah, it was Marcus Foster. He was only 1 point away from making it all 5 starters scoring in double figures. So very, very good stuff there. You'll love to see it if you're an Xavier fan. They're going on the road here to take on a Seton Hall Pirates team that's 7-19 on the year. They had that crazy win against UConn and predictably got absolutely dismantled in their next game, going on the road to Marquette and losing that one 80-56. So didn't really have a prayer in that one. And this team, generally speaking, hasn't had too much of a prayer in most of their games. I mean, they've lost big at Georgetown. They lost pretty big at home. Yeah, they lost by 30 at home against Butler. They went on the road at DePaul and lost that game by 17. This is just not a very good team. Their offense 421st in the nation. Not a very good defensive team either. Their rebounding numbers, their assist numbers, they don't have a big time leading scorer. I mean, Isaiah Coleman, you're scoring 15 points per game. Cool. You're shooting 38% from the field. It's pretty brutal, guys. And that's why we see Seton Hall getting 8.5 points at home. We've got a total of 137.5. We do worry a little bit about, we want to check and make sure there's no big look ahead spot here. And unfortunately, we do see Creighton on deck there for Xavier. So that's something to be worried about. Seton Hall, I don't think they really qualify for look ahead spots. They've got Villanova on deck, but really, guys, Xavier 5-5 against spread on the road, 15-12 to the under. Seton Hall 5-8 against spread at home, 13-12-1 to the under. I'm not going to be taking under 137.5. I don't think. Maybe you could talk me into it, but I think this is a good spot to just go ahead and take Xavier here. I think they win this game by at least 10 points, even if they're in a big look-ahead spot. I just think Seton Hall is just too bad, and they got their big win. It was against UConn. I feel like the squad's kind of ready to pack it in for the season. Heading out to the horizon for this one, guys, we've got the Milwaukee Panthers going on the road to take on Robert Morris. Milwaukee comes into this game fresh off of that big win at Youngstown State. It took them, quite the effort, but they eventually get the 10-point win, so we will take it. They've been a little bit all over the place this season, but they are 12-5 in conference play. That's only 1 game back of Cleveland State for the top spot in the entire horizon, so they've done some good things. I mean, you don't get to be 19-9 on the year without doing some positive stuff. They've won 4 out of their last 5. There was a blowout win against Cleveland State mixed in there, but hey, knocking off Youngstown is, not necessarily a terrible look. They were, they're a 12-win team in the conference, so definitely a rival there. Themis Folks, 15 points, 6 assists, shooting almost 50% from the field. Nothing wrong with that. This is a top 55 team offensively. They're dominant on the boards. This is just a really good team. Their only weakness, I would say, would maybe be their defense, and we'll see if that gets exploited here as they go on the road to take on a very, very good Robert Morris team that they faced earlier this season and took a 2-point loss. That was a home game for Milwaukee. They end up eventually losing it by 2. So, yeah, kind of brutal stuff there. What are you going to do? It's a tough loss there. And Robert Morris, they've been playing great. They're 21-8 on the season. They come into this one winners of 5 in a row, including a big win there at Cleveland State. They took down Green Bay in a shockingly competitive game. Green Bay actually kept things within 9 in that one, but they've just got 2 games left, one Milwaukee and then IUIN, which should not be a tough game at all. So they're looking to cruise to, hopefully for them, a conference win here. We'll see what they can get done. I mean, Cam Woods, a monster, 15 points, 5 assists per game. This is a good offensive team, good on the boards. Not great defensively, though. Another defensive team that is just not really getting it done for me. And like I said, guys, the last time these two teams met, we saw a pretty high-scoring game overall. What was the final score there? Yeah, 81-79. That's a lot of points. So we'll see what goes on in this one. I mean, Robert Morris, they're 2.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 151.5. Milwaukee, 6-8 against the spread on the road, 14-12 to the over. Robert Morris, one of the best teams against the spread at home in the NCAA this season, guys. They're 11-4 against the spread on their home court. They're also 17-11 to the over. So first up, I think Robert Morris minus 2.5 is reasonable. You can talk me into that for sure. No problem. I like that play. But even better than that, guys, I like the over in this game. Over 151.5 seems extremely live to me. We're going to see plenty of offense in this game. Neither team really plays much defense. So go ahead and give me a good look at the over as well. Next up, guys, we're headed to the MAAC. We've got the Rider Broncos going on the road to take on the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. Rider 10-17 on the season, so not exactly killing it. They're 6-10 in conference play. They come into this one losers of 2 in a row. They just lost at home against Fairfield, guys, and it was not a close game. They ended up losing by 20. So yeah, it's getting a little bit bleak here at the end of the road for Rider. They've got a 2-game road trip coming up here. This is the first game of a 2-game road trip, so things aren't looking great for a team that's around 400th in the nation offensively. Not a very good rebounding team, not a very good defensive team either. Yeah, it's a little bit rough. They did beat Mount St. Mary's the last time these two teams faced each other, so give them credit for that. It was a 66-60 win at home for Rider, but now they've got to go on the road, and Mount St. Mary's is a 16-10 team. They're currently 4th in the MAAC. They've won their last 3 in a row. They beat Niagara, they beat Canisius, and they took care of business there against St. Peter's, getting the 11-point win. So now they take on Rider. This is a team that doesn't really rely on one monster leading scorer, but they're a very good rebounding team. They put up some point. They're not a great offensive team. They looked fine, but the defense has definitely taken a step forward lately. So we'll see if that comes into play in the big revenge spot here for Mount St. Mary's. They're 5.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 138.5. Rider 9-8 against the spread on the road, 15-12 to the under. Mount St. Mary's 5-5 against the spread at home, and 13-12 to the under themselves. I think this is a great spot to take Mount St. Mary's at -5.5, guys. I think they're going to get the major bounce back, like revenge spot. They're playing much better here. They won 5 out of their last 6. Like, they're kind of charging up the standings there. They want to get as good of a seed as they can possibly get in the conference tournament to give themselves a chance to knock off teams like Marist and Quinnipiac. So definitely give me Mount St. Mary's at home here. Next up, guys, we're headed back to the Horizon. We've got Cleveland State going on the road to take on Oakland. Cleveland State currently the #1 team in the Horizon, a 13-4 conference record, a 19-9 record overall, but it has not been smooth sailing recently, guys. They've actually lost 3 out of their last 5 games. They beat Milwaukee, they beat Detroit Mercy their last time out, so a win there, but losing against a couple teams, losing against Robert Morris, like, that's not a terrible loss, but these have not looked great, and now they got to take on not the easiest team there in Oakland. Oakland, over 500 team in conference play, so we're going to need to see some better stuff from this team that over the course of the year, their season-long numbers, except for their defense, have not been that crazy. So it's looked a little bit rougher here at the end of the season for this Viking squad. It's been not the easiest road, so we'll see what they can do, see if they can bounce back here. Obviously coming off a win definitely helps, but they're taking on Oakland, and Oakland has been a little bit of an interesting team here down the stretch. They've won 2 out of their last 3. They are coming off of a pretty bad loss, though, against Purdue Fort Wayne, but Purdue Fort Wayne's a good team, so we'll see what we get here. This team, very bad offensively, guys. There's no way around it. They're averaging 68 points per game. They scored 66 their last time out. So what are they going to do at home in this one against a very usually good Cleveland State team? We'll have to see. Their rebounding numbers aren't necessarily stellar either, and we see, Cleveland State's aren't that crazy either. Just a very, very good defensive team. So look at the numbers here. Oakland, actually 1.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 136.5. Cleveland State 8-4 against the spread on the road, 17-9 to the under. Oakland 4-5-1 against the spread at home, 14-13 to the under. I think under 136.5 is very live in this game, guys. So you could take that. I don't have any problem there. Maybe not going to be my main play here because I do like Cleveland State. Getting 1.5 here. They're getting very, very disrespected in this spot. I know they haven't been playing great recently, but Oakland, while they're an interesting team, they're not all that, guys, and the Vikings team is going to be desperate to keep winning and hold on to that top spot in the Horizon, so give me Cleveland State on the road here. Now, guys, we get into some of the big games on the slate. We've got Ohio State going on the road to take on UCLA. The Buckeyes have been a just absolutely wild team this season. They're 15-12 on the year. They've lost 3 out of their last 4, but they have made some noise knocking off teams like Maryland. They got a nice win against Purdue. They played some crazy close games against some of the best teams in the nation. They knocked off Kentucky in the early goings. Like, this team has just done it all. They've also done looking terrible recently. They had that heartbreaker of a loss against Michigan. They followed that up with a stinker against Northwestern their last time out. They lost 70-49 against Northwestern. That is not what this team is supposed to be doing, guys. Not at all. So we'll see if they've got a bounce back in them here to go on the road, on that tough California road trip. And yeah, that has not necessarily been the easiest thing for these, these Big 10 schools to adjust to. I mean, we like their season-long numbers. They look reasonable. They're not a great rebounding team. Their defense isn't necessarily amazing. So that could be a little bit of a problem against, a pretty tough UCLA team that's done some good stuff this season. So we'll see if Bruce Thornton and company can get something going here for Ohio State. UCLA comes in this game 19-8 on the season. They're 10-6 in conference play. They're fresh off a tough loss against Minnesota, a 3-point loss against a team I'm sure they feel like they should never, ever be losing to. But they're at home here. They're in a bounce-back spot for sure. They've got a team that can, struggle on the boards, but they play amazing, amazing defense. And yeah, they definitely have to be feeling like they are, really let one get away there against Minnesota. I mean, that is not a team you're supposed to be losing to if you want to be taken seriously as a UCLA Bruins squad. They're a decent offensive team. They've done some good stuff this year. I mean, they've got wins against Michigan State, Oregon when Oregon was ranked, a big win over Wisconsin. Like, this team has made some noise. So will they be able to continue to make some noise here? We'll have to see, guys. UCLA 6.5-point favorites at home. We got a total of 139.5. Ohio State only 3-5 against spread on the road, 14-13 to the under. UCLA a solid 9-5-1 against spread at home, 16-11 to the under as well. I'm not going to be taking under 139.5. That seems a little bit extra to me. I guess it's not terrible, but I'm going to be leaning towards UCLA minus 6.5 at home here. I think the home team is just, they have a big advantage. Like, Ohio State has to go all the way from Ohio to LA. Like, I know they are already technically out there. They've, just played, or wait, no, they're not out there. They played against Northwestern. So they do have to take that big trip. Yeah, give me UCLA in this one, minus 6.5. Seems like a very good spot to me. Next on the docket, guys, with the Utah Utes going on the road to take on the UCF Knights. Utah comes in this game fresh off that crazy 74-69 win against Kansas State. That one, guys, they got an awful lot of help from the refs there at the end of that game. I will say that a very bogus flagrant foul call, a lot of free throws shot in that game. They did knock off Kansas before that, but Kansas has been floundering, guys. We all know that. We saw Utah shoot 30 free throws in that game. They managed to win despite shooting only 3 of 19 from 3. Yeah, it was something else, guys. That was tough to watch at the end of the game. Kansas State got called for 22 fouls. Utah only got called for 15. They were able to just dominate the boards. So the question is, will they be able to do that on the road here, which has not been their forte, guys? I mean, Utah, they are 7-8 in conference play, so not terrible. We've seen some good stuff from Madsen this season. This is a good rebounding team, but the defense is not so hot. So what are they going to do on the road here against the UCF Knights, who come to this game 13-13 on the season? They're 4-11 in conference play, so not great. They're fresh off of a crazy 104-95 loss at Oklahoma State. They do get to go back home for this one, so that's something positive. But yeah, I mean, Keyshawn Hall, he's a monster, but outside of him, what does this team really have going for it? I guess they're elite offensively, but the defense is atrocious. The rebounding numbers are also very, very, very bad. So, well, not very, very bad. That's an exaggeration. The rebounding numbers are not great, but we see the odds makers actually like UCF in this one. They're 3.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 160.5. Utah only 1-6 against the spread on the road. They're 16-10 to the under. UCF 6-9 against the spread at home, 16-10 to the over. Guys, I'm leaning towards the home team here. Once again, I mean, Utah having to go down there to Central Florida. I don't know if that's really going to have the best impact on them. I mean, they're going to be getting out of the cold, going down to the hot. I'm not sure if we like that spot for them at all, guys. They've been so bad on the road. Give me UCF in this one at minus 3.5. Next up, guys, we got the Arizona State Sun Devils going on the road to take on those Kansas State Wildcats. Arizona State only 12-14 on the season, so not exactly having the best year. They've lost, 6 in a row now. They just got destroyed by number 5 Houston, which nothing to be ashamed of there. That kind of happens to everybody, but it's been a rough season. They don't really have a great leading score. Their rebounding numbers, their defensive numbers, not great. And it's not like their offense is amazing either, so we'll see what they can do in this one. They have played Kansas State earlier this season. It was only a 1-point loss there at home for ASU, so maybe they have what it takes to hold up in this matchup. We'll see. They did shoot more than double the free throws that Kansas State shot in that game, though, so we'll have to see. The Wildcats, obviously, at 13-13 on the season, 7-8 in conference play, come in with a lot to prove. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost at BYU and at Utah, so now they get to go back home, try to get things back on track. They don't have a ton of huge resume building spots left on the, left here at the end, so they're going to need to kind of pile up these Big 12 wins and they've got a chance here in this one for sure. This team is decent offensively. The rebounding is not great, but they move the ball really well on offense. They play a little bit of defense, so maybe we see them with a chance in this game. I mean, I don't know, guys. They really feels like they got homered there in that Utah game. So they're back home for this one. They've got a chance for some revenge. They're 6.5-point favorites, so the odds makers think they're going to get that revenge. We've got a total of 145.5. Arizona State is 5-3 against the spread on the road. They're 13-13 to the over/under. Kansas State 7-5 against the spread at home, 15-11 to the under. Guys, I think this is Kansas State's turn to get some preferential treatment here at home. Give me the Wildcats at -6.5. I think they get the bounce back here, get the job done, and win and cover this one. Probably winning by around 10 points. They deserve a little bit here because, man, did they get a raw deal there at Utah. Next up, we've got the Drake Bulldogs going on the road to take on Northern Iowa in the biggest game, probably going to be the biggest game of the season here in the Missouri Valley Conference. Drake comes into this game 24-3 on the season. They're 14-3 in conference play. They've only got 3 games left in the conference, and they should win all of them except for this one at Northern Iowa. This is going to be a tough one, guys. The last time they played Northern Iowa, they did come away with a 66-52 win, but that was a home game there for Drake, and they've been a very good home team. Don't get me wrong; they're not necessarily a great rebounding team, but that defense is excellent. Bennett Sturritz is a monster. 19 points, 6 assists, shooting 50% from the field. That is hard to beat, especially out in the Missouri Valley Conference. Northern Iowa, 19-9 on the season. They're 13-4 there in the Missouri Valley. They've got a chance to take over that top spot with a win in this one. They've been playing great. They've won their last 6 in a row. Maybe not the most amazing wins mixed in there, but they've got a chance to make a big statement here against Drake. This team, guys, 155th in the nation in offense, but they're a very good defensive team as well. They also struggle on the board, so that could kind of be a wash in this one. Anderson, a monster for them, 16 points per game, shooting almost 60% from the field, so that's very, very good. And yeah, guys, this is going to be a barn burner of a game. I mean, the last time these two faced each other, we did see Drake come away with a significant win. Northern Iowa shot only 7 free throws in that game, and Drake shot 21. Yeah, can you say homer? I can say freaking homer, guys. Drake also shot the lights out, shooting 62.5% from 3. I don't think they're going to do that on the road in this one. Northern Iowa's getting a 1.5 at home. We've got a total of only 126.5. Drake 5-3 against the spread on the road, 15-10 to the under. Northern Iowa 11-3 against the spread at home this season. They are 16-11 to the under. I think this is going to be something of a rock fight, guys. You could take under 126.5 if you wanted to, but I'm going to be shading a bit here towards the home team. Northern Iowa getting a 1.5. I think they find a way to get the job done at home in this game. It's going to be a huge game. This is going to be a great one to watch, so tune in for sure. But I think I'm going to be siding with the home team that deserves to get the home team treatment in this matchup. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at Georgetown going on the road to take on Creighton out in the Big East. Georgetown comes in this game fresh off a nice 93-72 blowout win there against Providence. They've been getting some wins here down the stretch, but they've also been having some pretty big losses. So we like the direction this program's headed in. They're rebounding the ball a little bit better. Their defense is better. They've got some pieces in the door. I mean, Micah Peavy, a nice guy to have on your roster, but can they really stand up against some of the better teams in the conference? I mean, there's not much of a sterner test in college basketball than going on the road and taking on Creighton. And they did beat Creighton earlier this season. It was at Georgetown, so a home game there for the Hoyas. They won that one 81-57. It was a long time ago, but I'm sure they remember, and I'm sure Creighton remembers. So the Blue Jays 18-8 on the season. They're second in the Big East. They've actually lost 2 in a row. They just lost at St. John's, a brutal 79-73 loss. We saw Kalkenbrenner injure his foot in that loss, so his availability for this game is obviously a very, very big deal. Right now, guys, we don't really know for sure if he's going to be playing. He did come back and play in that game, but I would assume he's going to be pretty sore. He, didn't look himself when he came back. Obviously, you're not too shocked to see that, so we'll see. Keep as updated as you can with his injury news, but my assumption right now is that he's likely going to be playing in this game, and he's going to be out there. Will he be at 100%? That seems like kind of a big ask. In terms of Creighton's numbers over the course of the season, they've been very good, especially at home, and that's why the odds makers have them as massive home favorites, 12.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 143.5. Georgetown 5-4 against the spread on the road. They've been fighting on the road. They're 16-10 to the under. Creighton 8-5-1 against the spread at home, 15-11 to the under. I could wrap my head around under 143.5 in this game. Absolutely, for sure. No problem there, especially if we see Kalkenbrenner be a little bit limited. But, guys, I think Creighton is going to get major revenge in this game. Give me the Blue Jays at -12.5 here. I think they find a way to get just a dominant win here. They're going to dominate the boards in this game, potentially. They're going to shut down Georgetown there on defense, and I think they get the revenge in this spot. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at USC going on the road to take on Rutgers. The Trojans come into this game 14-12 on the season. Not having a great time there in the Big Ten. They're only 6-9 in conference play, but Rutgers is 6-10, so they're probably not too scared. We see the Trojans fresh off of a rough 88-71 loss there at number 20 Maryland, so that's probably not what they had in mind. This team has some pieces on it. I mean, Desmond Claude, 16 points, 4.5 assists per game. Nothing wrong with that. They're an atrocious, one of the worst rebounding teams in, definitely got to be one of the worst rebounding teams in the Big Ten, if not in the entire nation. Their assist numbers look good. Their offense is fine, but the defense is absolutely not there either. So, yeah, things haven't been amazing there for the Trojans. Obviously, getting this road trip off to a rocky start there against Maryland. Now they get to take on Rutgers, a team I'm sure they feel like they can beat. The Scarlet Knights, they come into this game fresh off of a crazy 89-85 win there over, Washington in an overtime game. We saw Dylan Harper score 34 points. Crazy, crazy stuff. This team, I mean, Dylan Harper, 20 points per game, 4 assists per game, almost 50% from the field. You can't really poke too many holes in that. But Rutgers, not a very good defensive team, not a great rebounding team either, although not terrible. I'll give them some credit, not terrible. We'll see what they can do here against USC. I mean, it's going to be interesting. At least they get to play this game at home. They didn't have to make the long trek out there to California. Rutgers, 2.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 152.5. USC, 4-3 against the spread on the road, 19-7 to the over. Rutgers, 7-7 against the spread at home, 14-12-1 to the over. Guys, I like over 152.5 in this game quite a bit. I think it's a very reasonable spot to take the over. I think we'll see plenty of offense in this game with both teams scoring in the mid 70s at least. So that seems very, very reasonable to me, but maybe better than that, guys. I like Rutgers here at -2.5 to find a way to get a nice win here over USC. I mean, they're just the better team. They're going to have the best player on the court for sure. Will they be a little bit tired coming off that overtime game? I mean, it's going to be, 4 days ago now, so I'm not too worried about that. Go ahead and give me Rutgers. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and to get us closer to giving away a free hoodie. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I know a lot of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so help us get to that 50,000 subscribers so you can have a chance at a free hoodie. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. Click the link in the description to get over to stumpthespread.com. You can check out our premium picks. You can check out all of our picks on our free email newsletter. You definitely want to get signed up for that. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.